So guys, I wanted to end this video by addressing some of the stuff that gets said on the internet. You know, we try to keep things a little lighthearted here. We poke fun at ourselves, I think, just as often as we poke fun at other people. But the issue really is that there are a lot of things that get said on the internet that are just inaccurate, not true, or lack context. And as people in the gun industry, whether we're talking about optics, body armor, ammunition, firearms, whatever the case may be, we have an obligation to use specifics. And in this video that we're addressing today, the gentleman made some comments that, something to the effect that, we have an obligation to, once we achieve a certain level of influence, we have to be held accountable. Well, he's absolutely right. The irony is that to a certain degree, it doesn't seem as though he's practicing it. And so we try to do that here at Steel Ops. What you should take away from the videos, any of our videos, and we've said this before, but I'll say it again in this video, is we are not bad-mouthing any particular type of armor. I'm a firm believer that you should own as many types of body armor as your budget will allow you. The Hesco L210 plate that I've been shooting is one that I purchased for myself. I felt that it fit a niche in the industry or in the defensive realm, and it's a very specific niche, but it does fill a niche. And in no way, shape, or form am I saying don't buy a Hesco L210, but what you should take away is that all plates have a failure point, whether it's level 4 armor, level 3 plus, level 3, level 3A, etc. They all have a failure point, and it is more about designing your kit based on what you think your threat level is going to be. I generally feel, this is purely my opinion, this is not fact, should not be taken as gospel, but I feel like if you are in the United States, you need to be addressing 7.62 x 3.9, M193, M855, 77 grain OTM, and 308. Those are going to be your most common threats, and then obviously your handgun calibers. If you're going to wear body armor, I think the minimum is that the plate can stop all of those rounds. How many of those rounds? That's up for debate. That depends entirely on range, scenario, environment, and the skill of the person shooting at you, your tactics. So there's a lot of guys that have been wearing body armor for a lot of years that have never been hit in the plate for good reason. It's not because they weren't in a dangerous situation, it's because they used the appropriate procedures and skills and tactics to not get shot. And that's far more important than the body armor that you choose. So whether you use our armor or not, guys, go out, get training, shoot with your kit on, learn how to move in and out of rooms, how to manipulate your weapon system effectively wearing body armor, mag changes, etc. And obviously, if you're looking for body armor, if you're in the market, we'd be honored to have you look at our product, particularly as one of your first types of body armor for several reasons, but durability, effectiveness against the aforementioned rounds, and it's a great armor to start out with. It's a great vehicle kit, and it's very effective for domestic threats. Guys, if you're headed overseas, so one of the things the gentleman also mentioned was that special forces don't use steel armor. Yeah, there's a lot of things that special forces don't use. They're moving away from M855. Actually, they're moving away from M855A1 because it's chewing up feed ramps. We have some communication with special forces guys as well on our end, and most of them are just going to 77 grain OTM for many reasons. But yeah, there's what the military uses. If that's going to be your gauge for what you should use, I suspect you probably never served in the military, and that's not necessarily a great way to start, because that's not how they use equipment. It's not how you're going to use equipment. So every situation is different. If you're looking for a kit that you can throw in your vehicle, throw on, go in and be an asset rather than a liability, our plates are a great fit there, as long as they're accompanied by some sort of trauma kit and the knowledge to use that stuff. would say that that in particular is far more important than what body armor you choose to select. Most of us guys have less than a 1% chance of ever needing body armor in the first place. And those of us that do end up needing body armor, as I've said in other videos, you're not going to be wearing it for very long, so I think weight is an over-exaggerated issue in body armor, although it is valid, but I think it is a little bit over-exaggerated sometimes. It is more about effectiveness against the threats that you are likely to encounter. And as we've shown in some of our videos, when we're testing armor at a flat 0 degree angle of incidence, it's very easy to make armor look maybe better than it actually is. And what we really need to be doing is testing armor, I would almost argue, always at some angle of incidence, because that's realistically how you're going to take an impact. You definitely want to keep your body armor perpendicular to a threat whenever possible, and there's room clearing techniques that you can go and learn from somebody way more qualified than me to about how to enter a room and keeping your weapon and your body armor perpendicular to a threat. But even then, even using those appropriate tactics and maneuvers, odds are it's still going to be at some kind of an angle. And so what we've tried to demonstrate over the last couple of videos is just that needs to be taken into consideration, and blanket statements like all steel armor fragments is if we're gonna make a generalized statement, let's make an accurate generalized statement in that all body armor fragments and can fragment at a given angle or at a given distance from the edge of the plate. I would say the minor exception to that rule is poly plates, but the reason that I have personally never chosen to own like poly or UHMW plates is their susceptibility to M855. M855 is just such a common round that even out of shorter barrels, M855 has a very high likelihood of going through poly armor. And that's not to say that poly armor does not have a place in the armor industry. It does. If I was near water, I'm in Colorado, so I'm not around a lot of water. I'm not on a boat that often. I would never be in the ocean, obviously. So in those applications, I could definitely see a good fit for poly. Or if you're going to be wearing something all day and you're willing to accept some of that risk of encountering M855, then yeah, I think poly armor does definitely have a place in the armor industry, and maybe it's a good fit for you in that circumstance. But practicing again what I preach, maybe I need to have a set of poly armor. Why not? Why not at least have access to that and have that as an option? And that is the mentality that we need to start having, whether it's related to armor, guns, optics, ammunition, anything. We need to understand that there is not an end-all be-all, there is not an all-encompassing solution, and that it's a toolbox that you need to be able to select from in order to achieve the task at hand. And for every armor plate on the market, I can make an argument for and against given a certain situation. So to those of you that understand that and that help us get that word out, we appreciate it. To those hoping to be a part of that, just the best way to do it is to just tag somebody in our videos, guys. We keep our Instagram private. We've gotten criticism for that. But we keep our Instagram private for a couple reasons. The main one being, guys, that if somebody is not willing to just click a button to be informed, it speaks volumes as to what their actual motivation is. If they are not willing to go to our Instagram page and click follow just for 10 minutes, they can always go and unfollow us, but if they're not even willing to go to our page and click follow for long enough to watch a couple videos and get all the information, then odds are that their mind wasn't going to be changed in the first place, and that's willful ignorance. And honestly, those just really aren't the type of people that we want as customers anyway. So there's plenty of people that follow us on social media that don't use our products, dare I say, might not even like our products, but we still appreciate them following us and at least getting all the information and making an informed decision. If you guys get all the information and you still choose to go with a different product, hats off to you. I am never going to fault somebody for doing that. I, again, own different kinds of body armor. So it's not about picking one armor and saying that's it. You would never do that with a handgun, right? You would never say that the Glock 19 is the only handgun that anybody should ever own for anything. That's absurd. That's, as the internet influencer put it, asinine. You would never say that a 10.5 is the perfect gun for all situations. That's asinine. Well, it doesn't change with body armor. And I would hope that our videos have kind of shown that, in that all armor has a failure point, and sometimes it is circumstantial. The L210, the RMA 1155, great plate. It's heavy, it's 8.5 pounds, but it's level 4. You can take a wallop. I mean, you can hammer that thing. It's great. So unlike other companies in the industry, we have chosen not to go out and criticize plates or criticize companies, but put information out there and allow you guys to make decisions for yourselves. And we would hope that you guys appreciate that to some degree, even if you choose our products or not. So as always, guys, thanks for being Steel Ops customers and supporters. Thanks for sticking with me and at least listening to what I had to say. And we look forward to bringing you more cool content in the future. Take it easy, guys.